Schemes to be aware of are the Contractor's Health and Safety Assessment Scheme, CHAS, Safety Schemes in Procurement SSIP, Safe Contractor, and the Considerate Constructors Scheme, CCS. Fire safety. Fire safety is highly topical following the Grenfell Tower tragedy and extensive subsequent legislation. Fire safety is also a separate technical competency, which will be covered in other pathway-specific books. However, this chapter will provide a general overview of the critical things surveyors need to know. Fire needs 3 things to start. An ignition source, for example, heaters, lighting, naked flame, or electrical equipment. A fuel source, for example, wood, waste packaging, or furniture. An oxygen source, i.e., the air. The Regulatory Reform Fire Safety Order 2005 covers general fire safety relating to non-domestic property in England and Wales, including the common areas of multi-occupied buildings. Non-compliance penalties are up to £5,000 for minor breaches, whereas major breaches carry unlimited fines and up to 2 years imprisonment. The Fire Safety Act 2021 was enacted pursuant to the Fire Safety Bill, following the Grenfell Tower fire in 2017. It amends the Regulatory Reform Fire Safety Order 2005, Fire Safety Order, to cover specific elements of buildings containing more than 2 separate residential units, irrespective of height or number of stories. These elements are the structure, external walls, cladding, balconies and windows, and all doors between flats and common parts. The local authority enforces the 2005 order. They can visit the premises and issue informal or formal fire safety alterations, enforcement or prohibition notices if measures are found to be insufficient. The 2005 order emphasizes risk assessment and fire prevention, with a requirement to take reasonable steps to reduce the fire risk and ensure that occupants can escape safely if a fire occurs. The 2005 order allocates responsibility for fire safety to the responsible person, who is generally the employer or controller of the premises. The latter could be the owner, landlord, occupier, or anyone else controlling the premises, such as a facilities manager, building manager, managing agent, or risk assessor. On a construction site, the responsible person is likely to be the main or principal contractor in control of the site. If there is more than one responsible person, they must liaise to ensure compliance with the order. The duties of the responsible person include carrying out and regularly reviewing a fire risk assessment, FRA, including updating it if required to reflect the provisions of the Fire Safety Act 2021. A written copy must be made available if a business has more than 5 employees. Communicating fire safety risks to employees and users of the premises. Installing and maintaining fire safety measures, including fire detection, warning systems and fire-fighting equipment. Carrying out emergency escape planning. Providing staff training, including fire marshals and fire drills. The process of preparing an FRA includes the following: identifying fire hazards, identifying people at risk, evaluating, removing or reducing risks, recording findings, preparing an emergency plan and providing training, reviewing and updating the FRA. Where there is a high risk of fire relating to the external walls or cladding of a multi-occupied residential building, then a further fire risk appraisal must be undertaken in line with PA 9980, Fire Risk Appraisal and Assessment of External Wall Construction and Cladding of Existing Blocks of Flats, Code of Practice. The Fire Safety England Regulations 2022 place additional duties on the responsible person or persons for mid and high-rise blocks of flats to provide information to the fire and rescue services, including electronic building plans and construction detailing for the external walls and any cladding. Undertake monthly checks of fire fighting or fire escape equipment. Install a secure information box and escape route signage. Provide residents with fire safety information. The Building Safety Act 2022 has also been enacted and substantially amends the 2005 order. 3 new regulatory bodies have been introduced: the Building Safety Regulator, the National Regulator of Construction Products, and the New Homes Ombudsman. A new duty holder, the accountable person, has been introduced for buildings over 18 meters in height, or with over 7 stories. The accountable person is responsible for fire and structural safety within the building. Residential valuers must also know about External Wall System, EWS, 1 forms, and the current BORIX guidance. This will be covered at length in the Residential Pathway book in this series. Other key legislation in the residential sector includes the Furniture and Furnishings Fire Safety Regulations 1988, as amended in 1989, 1993 and 2010. These require any furniture or furnishings, except for mattresses, bed bases, pillows and cushions, to have appropriate fire safety labels. Smoke and Carbon Monoxide Alarm England Regulations 2015, as amended in 2022. This requires landlords to install and maintain a smoke alarm on each floor of residential dwellings, and to install carbon monoxide alarms in any living areas containing a fixed combustion appliance, excluding gas cookers. Surveyors may also need to be aware of the International Fire Safety Standards IFSS and Approved Document B, Fire Safety of the Building Regulations. How can you demonstrate levels 1 and 2? Your assessors will start at the highest level you have declared, which will be level 2. At level 2, BORIX expect that you will be able to provide practical experience in some of the following activities or tasks. Practical application of health and safety issues, including compliance and legislative requirements. Obtaining formal qualifications, such as first aid, nationally recognized and industry-specific qualifications. Acting in a specific role under key legislation, such as CDM 2015. Being involved in a health and safety audit or review. Reviewing health and safety proposals or risk assessments and method statements, RAMS, as part of a tender or tender analysis. Typical questions will start with, how have you safely inspected? Tell me about an example of when you carried out a risk assessment, or how did you ensure you were safe on site when? Remember, all the assessor's questions should be based upon the examples you provide in your Level 2 write-up for this competency in your summary of experience, rather than being hypothetical or general. You may also be asked some Level 1 questions, focusing on the knowledge behind your practical Level 2 examples. Chapter 6. Accounting Principles and Procedures. DOI 10.12019,781,003,437,116-6. Accounting Principles and Procedures is a mandatory BORIX APC competency required to Level 1. This means that you need to write up your summary of experience with a statement of knowledge at Level 1 only. The BORIX Pathway Guide sets out this competency's relevant knowledge Level 1. This covers basic accounting principles and interpretation of company accounts. This is an essential skill for surveyors when working in or running a business, vetting suppliers or contractors, or considering tenant covenant strength and evaluation instruction. Understanding a set of accounts or a company's financial performance is also a valuable life skill. This chapter will explain what you should know concerning accounting principles and procedures, covering the main requirements of Level 1. Remember, as a surveyor, you will have limitations regarding your depth and breadth of accounting knowledge. Always consult or refer a client to an accounting or taxation specialist if in doubt. Company accounts. Understanding company accounts is a crucial accounting skill at Level 1. Company accounts are generally either in the form of financial, statutory, or management accounts. As a starting point, here are some key accounting terms to be aware of. Accrual, money that a business has earned or spent, but has not yet been paid, for example a payment from a client or an amount owed to a supplier. Turnover, revenue, total sales. Cost of sales, the cost of producing the goods and services a business sells. Gross profit, turnover minus the cost of sales, for example wages, relating to a specific service. Gross profit margin, gross profit divided by revenue, multiplied by 100. Operating expenses, the expenditure needed to support the overall running of the business, such as rent, rates and utility costs. Net profit, bottom line, gross profit minus operating expenses, overheads and taxes. This is the amount of money that can be distributed to the business owners or reinvested in the business. Net profit margin, net profit divided by revenue, multiplied by 100. A high profit margin is desirable to a business. Financial accounts are required by law, for example under the Companies Act 2006. They are prepared annually in a fixed statutory format, following a specific accounting convention. Management accounts are far more flexible, are prepared more regularly and are for internal management use only. Company accounts can generally be downloaded from Companies House. We recommend downloading 2 sets of accounts to reflect upon whilst you are reading the rest of this chapter. Try to find one set for a small surveying business set up as a limited company, and one for a large surveying business set up as a PLC. You could also download your own firm's accounts to understand more about where you work. If your firm has a separate accounting team, spending time with them to understand accounting in further detail is a great way to expand your knowledge. The UK tax year runs from 6th April to 5th April the following year. However, a company's financial year will usually be for 12 months starting on the day that the company was formed, although this can be amended in certain circumstances. There are 3 key financial statements. Balance sheet/statement of financial position. This provides a view of a business's financial position, i.e. assets equals equity plus liabilities on a given date. This means that the balance sheet provides a snapshot in time. Income statement/profit and loss statement. This summarizes a company's income and expenditure over the accounting period. This provides an overview of company performance, including the net profit or loss. This can be compared to other accounting periods. Cash flow statement. This merges the balance sheet and income statement to show actual receipts and expenditure, including VAT. The cash flow statement is split into core, investing and financing activities, and demonstrates how and why the business bank balance changed over the accounting period. A qualified accountant should prepare a company's financial accounts. The business should provide their account with their accounting records from the year to allow the accountant to do this. Businesses will typically use accounting software